Hi, I'm Dan Kinney. This is my wife, Khristie. We've been married for 16 years. I have a son, Jed, and she has two daughters from a previous marriage, Emily and Alyssa. We've been members of City View for about 6 years now.
Before we started coming to City View, we did not focus our marriage on God. It was more on stuff, cars, houses, all the things. We didn't communicate, which then led to a further distance in between us. And I think that through that distance, I ended up retreating into my own things, trying to fill up all the activities I could, fill up all my time. I began drinking very heavily, and it was pretty much through that led to me being on social media all the time. And with that led to reconnecting with someone from my past. And eventually, one thing led to another, and it ended up becoming an affair. From that, I drank more to hide what I was doing and pretty much hide from myself. I really didn't know how to get out of it, and I knew that it was going to ruin my marriage. So I ended up praying to God to make it all disappear. And he didn't quite do that. He told me that I should confess. And that's not the answer that I wanted, but that's the answer he kept giving me. So I finally decided to obey and confess to Dan, pretty much assuming that he would immediately leave and break up our family, basically.
So on December 5th of 2016 at 4:55 p.m., my world ended. So after a lot of hollering and screaming and wanting to know the truth, which I'll never know, but I started thinking about others. I got on my knees and cried out to God, and not very nicely, I asked him, "What do I do?" And he gave me one word. He said, "Stay." So I have stayed. Things will never be the same. There will always be elements of issues that come up, and the wounds are always there. However, with time, the heart creates scar tissue, and so that the pain is less, but the pain never goes away.
So we went to church, tried to, put God back into our marriage. And Pastor Keith at one point started talking about re-engage. So we decided to go. We weren't really invested in the program, but we went. At about chapter 6 is when I really felt this huge difference in myself. It led me to make the decision to quit drinking. And from there, the next chapter was chapter 7 on commitment. And it talked about closing all the doors. And we had a huge fight that morning and decided that it wasn't working and we were going to get divorced. But we went to re-engage that night pretty much to tell them that we were done. And they ended up accepting or asking us to stay for that class. We did the class, and our leader said, if you are in a room and you lock the doors and you stay together, just remember that God is in the room with you. So we decided that night that we would make it work. We would stay. From there, we continued, re-engage, and fully invested. We went ahead and signed up for the fall semester again, all in this time. And then that led to being table leaders for about 3 more semesters.
An analogy for us is that before re-engage, our marriage was on life support and I had the plug in my hand ready to pull it. But after re-engage, our marriage is on Christ's support.
When you go into marriage, you come in with all these hopes and dreams and expectations, but most of us weren't raised with communication skills and all of the tools that are needed for a good marriage. And if you build a house, you wouldn't go into construction without tools, without a good firm foundation. And re-engage gives you the tools, teaches you how to use them, and then you can build your marriage on a firm foundation of God and the Word. And from that, you can build a great marriage.